and begin our session. So welcome everybody to what is the 22nd Live Learn Lunch from the IEP. Absolutely fantastic that we're on the 22nd of these. We're going to be hearing from Your Horizon, and in particular Jeff and Shirley today, and they're going to tell you a little bit more about it in a moment. But before they do, I just wanted to remind you we've got lots of brilliant stuff coming up on future sessions. We've got a session on creating a positive growth culture in the workplace next week from Ian Cooper. I don't know if any of you on today came to the last session, but that was great. We're going to have in August an introduction to the IEP learning platform. So for those of you who are interested in completing the induction, make sure you come along to that one. It'll be great. We've also got some sessions on suicide prevention coming up. We have a single parent support session. We have a session on steps towards career fulfillment for ourselves and each and every one of you, and a virtual first aid session. So loads of really good stuff coming up. So please do have a look at the Learning Network e-bulletin when it comes out and get yourself enrolled on those. So I'm going to pass you over now to Your Horizon so they can talk to you about the topic of today, which is going to be fascinating. We're going to be looking at graduates, but I'm not going to sort of steal their content. I'm going to pass you over. So Jeff and Shirley, over to you.
Okay, now can you...
Hi everyone, hi.
Hi everybody. Now let me just see... Okay, let me just get on to the previous slide. That's great. Brilliant. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take my video off because I do tend to fidget a lot. So I'll be taking my video off on this. So here we go. Stop video. And okay. Hi everybody, and welcome to today's webinar, What's Your Horizon? Helping graduates think outside the box. My name's Shirley Williams. I'm actually a member of the IEP and I'm one of the graduate coaches. I work alongside a team of 4 other colleagues who bring various perspectives to graduate coaching skills. Jeff, as you saw, Jeff Greenidge is presenting with me today, who is also a member of the IEP and on the board of directors of IEP. We have Jonathan Galley and Andy Lewis who will be helping in chat with any of your questions as well. We're very excited to be presenting this session today and hope you find some useful tips too. We want to make it as interactive as possible, so we'll be asking a few questions on the way, so please be mindful of that. I'll be happy to hear your results. So what is our journey today? What's on our journey? I'll be asking Jeff, what is your horizon? We'll do a quick poll after that. Then we'll look at you as advisors and providers, what's on your horizon, provide some useful tips for graduates and look at different stages of listening, which is key. Have an exclusive peek at Jeff in action, so thanks for doing that, Jeff, and one of his clients, Alex. And finally, we'll have a question and answer. So if we go into what is your horizon, I'm going to ask Jeff some questions. So tell me, Jeff, what is your horizon? What's the business and what does it do?
Yeah, thanks, Shirley, for that introduction. Well, simply put, Your Horizon at one level is a coaching and support organization for graduates. But what we've done, we've taken what we regard as being some of the key issues around those individuals who are, in some sense, hard to help. And I'll explain why in a minute. We've got a coaching program, which, as with most coaching programs, takes people through a process of understanding where they are and planning. What we try to do as well then is through the listening, through the understanding, and through gaining insights with the graduates, we almost force, propel, compel them, drive them to taking some action. So it's very much about coaching geared towards results and geared towards action. Brilliant. The second or third point really is we have webinars which are geared around those employability skills, helping people understand what they need to do in order to get that first graduate job, stay in that graduate job, and to progress in that graduate job.
Right.
The next element, which I think is really, the next element I think is really quite important, is the links to recruitment agencies. And so by linking in with recruitment agencies, you're almost raising expectations amongst graduates that there's a process, there's a road map that they're working towards. And then finally, it's about the networking and about getting graduates to meet together, to talk together and create that peer group support, which is very, very important for them at that particular point of their career.
Okay, that's absolutely brilliant. And why was Your Horizon created?
It came together really through Jonathan Galley and myself. We came from different perspectives. Jonathan, as a young graduate himself, he had no support in his first role, and really only got support once he had a mentor within the business. And again, as a young graduate, no real understanding of the world of work. So you put, as an educator, what I'm seeing is you put highly educated people, highly qualified people into a position where they may well fail. Often these graduates don't go into graduate roles, so they've paid lots of money, they're in potential debt in a role that doesn't suit them. So from those two perspectives, from the grassroots, from the raw Jonathan, in a sense, understanding that position, and for me as a teacher and educator and a coach, thinking, well, why are we doing all this? We came together and thought, well, what's missing? If I'm hard to help, what are the constituent parts that are missing? And that's why we came up with this program of coaching, action work, webinars, recruitment agency links, networking, and industry professionals speaking to graduates.
Oh, that's absolutely fascinating. And what makes Your Horizon different?
I think the difference is very much around that blend. It's the blend which is there to support a graduate throughout his or her journey within the university. It's not a one-off hit. It's the support whilst they're on their journey. There's also the support which is potentially there once they get into their job. Because again, one of the issues with people going into the world of work, do employers really have the time and the effort to support people in that induction period? And that's what we're trying to do, is to put that blend together. That will take the graduate in that transition point from being a student into work and supporting them in their first few months in work. That, I think, is what makes us slightly different.
That's great. That's lovely. And before we go into the poll, let me just try and get on to the next slide there. There's a question we would like to ask everybody in chat, if that's okay. And what percentage of graduate jobs got secured this year? Do you know, Jeff? Would you know?
I've got no real idea. I think the best to ask the audience that, Shirley.
If you'd like to ask in the chat, that would be great.
Any ideas what percentage of graduates got a job this year?
Oh, here we are. Let me just open the chat. So any ideas? Oh, we've got 50% from Andy, 10%. Wow. From Christine. Any others like to guess what they thought?
45%. That's quite high. 45% there. Yeah.
From Rita.
Yeah.
Hi, Rita. Any others there?
Actually, it's 40%. Again, that's quite high. Actually, the answer is, I do know the answer. It's actually only 18%. 18% of graduates had a graduate job this year. And again, that's why I think we're looking at this particular route to support individuals.
I know, it's absolutely crazy, isn't it? I mean, we're going to do a quick poll as well, so we just thought we'll get you warmed up with that one little question. So Helen's going to organise a quick little poll. And we have the questions there already. So if you can start answering those questions, about 3 questions on there. So it'll be interesting to see how that works, really. So, do employability services feel able to meet current demand from graduates? So yes, no, unsure. So if you want to start answering that, that would be great.
It's very much about understanding, really, how well we're geared up for this group of people who are potentially hard to help. We know what's happened in the current environment in terms of the COVID pandemic and the potential employability issues coming through there. And here you have a group of individuals with high expectations. They're coming out. I just wonder, how well are we geared up for this particular group of people. And the interesting things are coming through in the poll. We've had a couple of responses there.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And there's lots of tailored support out there as well, so it'd be interesting to see. I mean, some of them are tailored specifically for graduates, but and higher apprenticeships, for example, but they may not be out there. But it would be interesting to see what that is. So thank you for all, thank you for your answers. They are starting to come through, which is really good.
Yeah. So it's a sort of split there. Some say yes, some say no, some say unsure. So it's a bit of a split there.
So in the first one, if we look at the first one, I'm sure we'll get the results shortly, but we've got 33% so far. Oh, here we go. That's it, sharing the poll. So we've got 33% say yes to do employability services, feel able to meet current demand from graduates. And we've got 33% that say no, 33% unsure. So it's quite sort of split there. That was interesting.
Yeah.
And what about the second one there, Jeff?
Yeah. Question 2, do they provide tailored services? Again, it's unsure and no. It's quite a small complement, but I think that to me is representative of the sector as a total. When we talk to universities, they actually say that they do this, and we're saying that we're not sure whether we do it.
Yeah.
And when we know that only 18% of graduates entered that arena, that to me is quite a stark issue. And again, I think there's some action that we need to take in this particular sphere. Yeah. We'll stop sharing that at the moment, and we'll have the results there. Yeah.
Okay, that's so you can all see the results there, everybody. So there we go. And the final one: does your organisation offer specific tailored support? So a big 60%, 67% of them know they're able to access some support, but it's with to gain work experience, as all our clients do. So yes, that's really interesting for that. Okay, let's stop sharing results then. We'll move on to the next one. There we go.
So in a sense, the summary of the poll, just as you said there, we are in a position where we're quite uncertain about what's taking place in the environment. Graduates we know are at risk. So that to me is an opportunity for us to do something quite innovative and something quite different to support this this client group.
So moving on to the next one, if we're looking at what's on your horizon, I guess, with providers and advisors there as well. So Jeff, you've done a great summary there of the results. So if we looking at the current situation and the demands, what else?
So we've got high demand potentially from graduate for employability programs. I suspect the sector would have higher caseloads, and perhaps what we're asking the sector to do is to work differently. I suppose it's a question to ask the people in the group really. How do you feel about your readiness, in a sense, for this particular group? Let's see what comes through on the chat. So we had Rita there said, "Wow, Rita, what do you think about this? What do you feel about your readiness?" And is it Blanche Williams as well, and Anila? Any thoughts there?
Yeah. I mean, I can, it's whether you're all geared up for it and what the responses are there. So let's see if we're getting anyone through there, how they feel. Okay. Well, what we can do, we can move on unless we're. Oh, here we go, Julie. We're just. We are just launching a new division, which is interesting. So you obviously feel you understanding there is priority out there.
Great idea, yeah. Great idea. Great idea. And Anila, full of fresh ideas. Yes, that's right. It's fascinating because what you have are highly enthusiastic individuals, and we'll see when we talk later on about Alex, highly enthusiastic young man, just wondering what he can do and just requiring that steer to take him down that particular road. So thank you for those comments there in chat.
Okay, many, and Christine Brown, thanks for sending this through. Many graduates had jobs lined up to start that have not progressed due to COVID-19. Response needs to link to the economic recovery post-COVID. Very interesting there.
Absolutely right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
And Jonathan, I know expectations and realities will be different to other job seekers. Student debt, can drive an expectation of higher salaries than the market is offering or the grad is capable of. We've got graduates from Sylvia, and Rachel's coming through as well. So we've got graduates on GEM program. So enthusiastic, that's brilliant.
It's lovely to
Rachel,
see.
yeah. And that's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. We'll go through some of the techniques that we adopt in terms of supporting individuals. We'll pick up with that in a minute. Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, let's close the chat down, Shirley, and let's see.
So how can we help graduates? So basically, there's lots of different areas we can look at, and one area which I'm sure we're probably all doing, but because of lockdown it sort of changes priorities as well, and there's been a lot of uncertainty there. So one area we could look at is how we can improve during lockdown. There is never a best time to apply for a job, and especially this year. So we don't want to allow graduates or students to wait for lockdown to finish. There are many things that can be going on, many things that they can be doing. Also, it's very likely with any interview, they're going to ask them what have they been doing through lockdown, and not just on PlayStation or other things they might have been doing. So, companies that are still hiring out there, as you already know, what would be good is encourage graduates and students to offer maybe sort of video interviews, which would be quite good, or why hire me video. So being proactive is very key. And another useful tip would be, they may have been sort of certain and clear about what they wanted to do maybe a year ago, but things have kind of sort of changed. So they need to be very, very clear on what they actually want to do. I'm assuming that you've got lots of different techniques and different schemes to help check as providers and providers of lots of different areas. So if you can really focus on that, that would be good. But one thing to also remember and be aware of is many companies, they get inundated, swamped and bombarded with applications. So if people can send an application off sooner, at the very beginning, then that's really good. That acts in their favour as well. But before we carry on with more sort of useful tips, Jeff, I was going to ask you as well. We talked about the number of percentage of graduate jobs that were secured this year. What percentage of graduate jobs were secured in previous years? Do you know, or what do you think? Do you want to hazard as a guess?
I'll hazard as a guess, but again, let's see what others think about that. What percentage of graduate jobs were secured in previous years? Now, bearing in mind we'd gone through a period of relative security and boom, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of graduate jobs? Any thoughts from the participants?
Mm-hmm. 35% from Christine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 25% from Julie Pickering. Any other guesses?
25, yeah.
So we've got another 25 from Annie. Thank you for sending that through. 40% from Andy. Thank you.
Andy's closer. Andy's getting close. She's getting warmer.
Yeah.
Warmer.
Any more guesses? Anyone? Do you want to change what you put there? I don't know. Do you want to? I don't know if you want to answer, Jeff, or
yeah, 60%. In previous years, 60%. That's not so initially, but that's over a period of time. So there've been some who are unemployed for some period in that year, but then at the end of the year, you're talking about 60% people have got a job. But also means 40% haven't. So it's again, it's a fair risk there. So. So what can we do? Shirley's mentioned a couple of things that we can do. One of the things that we do a lot of with Your Horizon is to help graduates make the most of their own personal brand, in a sense. It's getting them on LinkedIn. That's a first step. But actually, they'll say, well, we haven't got a job title, but that doesn't matter. You've done things like volunteering, you've got a whole load of skills, you may have done past work experience, you're out there, you're doing things, you have an opinion on work, you have an opinion on the employment situation. So it's a place to put yourself out there so that people can see you, so that people can understand who you are and what you're looking for. And it's great from a recruiter's perspective, because they can see how motivated you are. They can see you also developing your network of advice. And one of the things we want to do is to create that network of young graduates, of individuals, so that they can bounce things off each other. Recruitment agencies are prominent on LinkedIn. So again, that's a chance for them to see you and to see your personal, unique selling point, in a sense. And finally, I think what we can encourage graduates to do is to think of themselves, to think of their own personal well-being and their mental state. That's not to say that people are in a position of stress, but if you can be, you know, as a former sports coach, you spend a lot with people's mindset, and you're working with athletes and getting their mind right, getting their mind in a position for that game. That's the same with graduates. You know, all coaching tends to work a lot on that mental state. Am I prepared? Have I got the right mindset to take that next step? And when I have, take the action to take that next step. So it's very much about encouraging people and graduates to look at themselves, as well as to look outside the competition and the opposition. So my sort of final question to the audience is, what percentage of graduates feel that the current situation around COVID will impact on their future careers prospects? Any suggestions in the chat? Because here they are, they've gone through that.
Oh, yeah, that's 70% from Julie, 80%. Yeah, it's very, very high. Anyone else? Anyone else wanting to? 75%. Yeah. And it's really worrying as well. And you know, 85% from Sylvia there. Molly, thank you for sending that through. I mean, we can move on to the next one. You can see it is very high. I mean, let me just so that's
can I, before you go on this, that's really important, because what we have here are, you think of what we're talking about, we have people with high expectations. They really don't necessarily understand the world of work. They're worried and they're concerned, and the universities say they're doing this, the employment services are gearing up for this, and I think collectively we need to find a way of supporting them. And one of the ways that we, Shirley will pick up now, we go through, is be that listening voice. So Shirley, you can take us through the listening.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's very, very high and very worrying. How can we help? So who's going to listen to them? How important is it to have someone listening to them at this stage? It's so important. I mean, like everyone here today, listening is very important and will be very helpful to grads, to students, to all your clients actually. But are we truly listening? And what I want to do, we're going to run through 5 different stages really, starting with the one which is the very bottom. But before we do that, I just wanted to kind of say, I know, you know, it has certainly helped me as a coach, and having worked in skills and employment sector for many years, and like you all, listening is a skill and it's something we use every day, and it's very useful obviously as a business as well, but to be aware that there are many different levels of listening. When I coach, and the same for Jeff, you're not just listening waiting, you know, to respond. Instead, you are fully present, you listen with your whole body, you let go of any judgment or opinions of that person or situation, and it does take a lot of patience and a lot of practice. Even the best listeners struggle at times to let go of maybe their own agenda or their inner voice chipping away at them. So let's get started. So this one is number 1, hurry up, interrupts and finishes off sentences. So we've got a sarcastic one-liner here. Oh, I'm sorry, did the middle of my sentence interrupt the beginning of yours? Now, my mother tends to be like this. She's great, but she's very excitable and has so many things that she wants to share at the same time. But when you want to hear, actually what you're listening to. So, do you know anyone like that, or are you like that? If you want to add to chat, that's fine. But let's go on to the next one as well.
And before you do add it on the chat, don't forget this is being recorded, so don't name any names. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this one's, you know, the situation. Your expectation is that you're in this meeting with this person and they're actually listening to you. And as Stephen Covey said, that most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. So this person that you're in the meeting with, they've already got their response. No matter what you say, they've got their response lined up. And you know what it feels like, where it's really very frustrating that happens, you know. So we actually stop listening and we start asking questions at the very point this person is expecting someone to really hear what they're saying. So we're hearing things, but we're not really listening. And again, no doubt you can relate to that that level of listening there. Level number 2, I think we are calling that.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone can hear my dog. I do apologise. I can hear him downstairs. Anyway, let's move on to number 3. Now, this is what's called focused. So we're moving up a scale a bit, which is great. So we're focused. So listening with genuine interest here. So you're totally focused on the conversation, even if there's lots of people around you, but you've got their full attention. You show true interest in what the person has to say and listen with an open mind. Yet, although higher up the scale, we still often listen to respond. So we're using and understanding a bit more about the body language at this stage as well. So like mirroring people, tone of voice, eyes, that kind of thing. Can you relate to this? I'm sure with what you're doing, it's an area that you can probably relate to with that one. We move on to now we're getting really closer, and what about number 4, Jeff?
Yeah,
for you?
we see lots of. I've been coached before, and lots of my coaches have unfortunately left it at level 3, where, you know, I can see their body language, I can see the eyes open and listening and looking.
Yeah.
We try to get to a point where it's generative, where we are now getting closer to that person. At this stage, we're trying to understand what's being said, but actually also what's not being said. And you've got to be comfortable at this point with the silence and with the pause, because what's not being said is actually within that pause. And you and the individual, you know, you're getting closer together. There's becoming more of a connection, because they actually now feel and they see that you're engaging with them. You're getting to a quite deep level of listening. So that level 4 is, to me, a transition point. It's a point where you're now getting very close to the individual, even though you may be thousands of miles away. You know, you're doing this on Zoom or through a phone. You can actually hear the silence on that phone call. So that's the 4th level, the one I find really very interesting.
Yeah, and I like the image for that, actually, because it's kind of connecting a bit more, isn't it? So it's quite nice, that image. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So the final one, if you like that image there, this is for deep listening. I mean, have you ever spoken to someone who's made you feel like you were the only person in the world at that moment in time, or they were so moved and simply truly sort of engaged and interested in every word that came out of your mouth? How, you know, have you ever felt that? I mean, have you ever felt that, Jeff? Something like that, and how did it make you feel?
Definitely, you know, it's when that person is really deeply listening. As a coach, it's really tiring. Actually, you get quite tired. It's you need to rest, because you are almost within that person's mind. But when you are on the receiving end of it, it's very rare that you can have an hour to yourself. how many people on this call have an hour where someone else is just listening to you and taking in things and not really giving you advice, but opening your mind to things that you probably thought of, but you hid away in the back corner of your minds. It's a wonderful feeling, Shirley, to have that,
and
that
you
hour to
feel,
yourself.
you feel important, you feel understood as well, which is great. But obviously, listening deep, like Jeff was saying, it is really emotional, and it takes a lot of energy, but it's the most rewarding results. I mean, to be frank, I would say I have always been generally interested in people, and I would probably put myself at level 3, may get to a bit of a 4 from time to time, but maybe a 1 with my mother when she's driving me mental. However, having experienced deep listening, it's like no other, and I've only accomplished this whilst doing coaching on the one-to-one, and it is truly moving. It's tiring, but you can be really connected. I just wanted to ask the audience, out of 1 to 5, what number would you say you are, or where you'd like to be? Yeah, what number would you say you are? So if I'd like to open that up to the chat, please.
What level of listening do you undertake normally within your workplace? It could be with colleagues, it could be with clients. Yeah.
Does anyone want to give that a whirl? Here we go. What would you say you are, Jeff? Oh, there we got 3 to 4, yeah, from Rita, Finny, that's great. Yeah. And like I said, I put myself in that category, and it's only really until I've had that real connection, I managed to get there. 3
Depends
to 5.
Depends on what I'm doing, yeah. It's right.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It does. Depends what I'm doing. 3 to 4.
Sylvia,
yeah.
3. Thanks for that, Sylvia. Yeah. And Julie, 3 to 4. Sometimes so busy, it's hard to listen. Yeah. That's right.
So that's a really good level to be at, actually. It's lovely to see that. In this sector. It takes time.
And depends on what they're talking about.
Yes, yeah. If it's rugby, it's 5 for me. Yeah.
That's good. Now, before what we're going to do, I know Helen's going to help me with this by putting recording together. And yes, thank you for a 4, because sometimes you can make a difference by just listening to someone, and it's great, which is really good. But before we open up questions, what we'd like to, we'll listen to one of our students is telling us about his experience of having an executive style coaching and how it has helped him, and rethink his journey ahead. If you can, whilst you're listening, if you can have a think yourself, what benefits of having a graduate coach could be for some of your clients, or can you see the benefit of how this extra coaching approach could benefit your organisation and assist some clients in perhaps getting a graduate or a higher apprenticeship type of jobs quicker? You'll recognise the coach in this, and Jeff, let me just pop that on, sorry, that you'll recognise the coach and as Jeff, and his client is Alex. So I think Helen is going to go. Okay, so Helen's now shown because she's going to put the audio on for me.
Okay.
So, yeah. Thank you guys for that.
I'm awfully sorry for the break. I've had a little bit of a technical problem, but it's going to come on just now, so my apologies for that.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, we've got 2 little clips together. It's only a couple of minutes, but
I think it's 2 minutes in total.
Yeah. No, it's really good.
But it's good to see that there's so many on that level 3 to 5, and it's interesting how you then translate that into the employability space with all these numbers coming through. So it's going to be a challenge, and there's something about, I think, how we can work together to look at the process, look at the steps within this type of program, and see what is translatable into the employability space that you inhabit. And also we can learn a lot from yourselves as to how you manage your caseloads, how you prioritize particular groups, etc. So I think there's a bit of synergy there.
which, okay, you're not going to be playing. For me, I said PlayStation. I wouldn't be playing on the PlayStation in work, but before work, when I could be preparing for work, I may be playing for PlayStation. So it's the lack of preparation as well. There's certain habits I might have, which if I can eliminate them or reduce them, then I'll be more prepared to go into the workplace and provide better results.
Okay, thanks, Alex, for that.
Well, I have to look through sort of results for me personally. I have to look at how to measure the difference between before I came into your horizon and afterwards. And for me, it's more sort of learning to practice the method of sort of focusing and staying in the present moment. That's what I've taken from this, and I have seen results. Obviously, I can't apply it to university yet because it's the summer break, but I've applied it to other things such as golf, and the results have improved. So I'm confident as well. So confidence is another word that that part has breeded the confidence, which is something we discussed. And I'm now confident going into university with this mindset and the same approach.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
Okay, I think, thank you, Helen, for that. Now I just need to obviously get back to my screen. So, which I'm sure you'll be able to do for me, if that's okay. Okay, let me select share the screen again on there, share. I'll get used to this.
Oh, yeah, magic.
Okay, let me get back onto, so yeah, let's get back onto Alex.
Yeah, so what we saw there, what was interesting with this young man is that very laid back, like a lot of 20-year-olds at the time, not quite sure where they're going. And the key point that he fed back to us was about the focus. You heard that on the screen there, on the video, or the audio, the focus and those steps that he needs to take the next step forward, and that he was getting success through that, and his results were improving. And what he was doing, he was using the same methodology on the golf course as he was doing in university, and he'll translate that into his search then for jobs. That idea of focus, getting your mindset right to take that to the next step, and that success breeds confidence. And that's the next thing that he needed to have, is the confidence to go out there and do some of these things and try some of these things. So it's very interesting to see how 4 or 5 short interventions of an hour can lead to a dramatic shift in an individual's confidence, and in that individual challenging themselves to avoid all those things that they do to sabotage themselves. Like his sabotage was the PlayStation. So he worked out eventually that the PlayStation had a particular time at the beginning, at the end of the day, and the rest of the day was partly golf, partly work, and partly job search. To us, that seems quite simple and straightforward, but for him as a 20-year-old, that was quite a significant step, and his habits have changed as a result of that. I thought I'd just share those thoughts with the audience, Shirley.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely brilliant. No, thank you for that. So what we'd like to do now, we are on questions and answers, and I think that will be sort of closing off. So if you have any questions, anybody, if you'd like to share them in the chat. I think I know 1 or 2 questions have been answered as we've gone along, which is great. So thanks, Andy and Jonathan, for doing that.
Apologies for the helicopter sound. It's the army playing games.
Is that where?
Yeah.
Is that where you are?
Yeah, I live next to an army base.
Oh, right. I'm very quiet over here at the moment. Oh, how does your Horizon deliver the offering? Who pays? Do you want to answer that, Jeff?
Yeah, there's two modes really. The one mode is that the student or the parent will pay for the program, because they're ultimate beneficiaries of this particular program. The second mode is that you enter a relationship with the university, because, as you say, we're not trying to compete with the university's career departments. the idea is this is complementary. It's
Mm-hmm.
supplementary to what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and you might find that there are certain groups of those students who are harder to help or the hardest to help,
Mm-hmm.
that you might want to allocate your horizon to, and to move them on much more quickly than they might ordinarily be moved on in the run of the mill. So the one model is the parents pay, or the students pay by their parents, and the second model is the university pays to increase their retention rates or to increase their success rates and their job success rates.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely brilliant, and it's very affordable as well. So how does Your Horizon deliver the offer? Who pays? How long is the program typically? I think it's around about 6 weeks, isn't it, Jeff? But we're looking for people to work with us and progress. So if we have somebody who's graduated, they may have 10 sessions. That'd be a combination of one-to-one coaching and webinars. But we then work with them to progress them into work as once they've got a job, but also onto maybe a leadership type role as well. So it's working with that individual on a long-term basis, really.
Yeah, it's very much a long-term engagement with an individual. So you can go through a 6 weeks period of support, but the intention is that it's a long-term relationship. And say for university with a cohort of individuals, they may want this over a 6 month period, where there are monthly interventions and monthly, say, webinars or coaching sessions for their group. So over a 6 months to 8 month period, they'll see the results over that period of time. So it is flexible, but normally it's between sort of 6 to 8 weeks in a program.
That's great. So I don't know if there's any more questions there, but we do have we do have a webinar that may help. It's free and it's on the 6th of August. Now this is obviously being recorded, so you'll be able to get the details there. So I just wanted to sort of share that with you, and that's the first of 3 that we're doing in August on a Thursday. And you've got our contact details as well, which again, this is recorded, so you'll be able to get hold of that if I move that down there.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if there's anything that we can help you work together, you know, please contact us. In the next few months, things may change for you. You may have more. You may have higher caseloads, and the focus will be getting obviously people into work. If we can help in any way, please let us know. That would be absolutely amazing. And you've been a great audience, and thank you for your participation. I don't know if there's any more questions there. Let's just have a quick look. But I think
that's covered all of the ones that we've had. Thank you so much, Jeff and Shirley, and the whole team at Your Horizon. That's been really interesting. And I think, Jeff, very much as you said, I think this will be something that we'll be doing more and more of in the future, is supporting graduates and seeing them come through on programs. So it's great to get ahead of the curve there. So thank you everybody for attending today. We will be sending out a link to the recording. As ever, the recording will go onto our YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. And what that means is you never have to miss one of our webinars again, because you will get a notification every time we upload something on the channel. Come back and join us soon. Tomorrow we have the apprenticeship software from Skills Forward. So if any of you are involved in apprenticeship delivery, come along and have a look at that. It's always good when Skills Forward join us. And as I've said, we've got lots coming up over the coming weeks. I've popped into chat some information on one of next week's webinars, which is around creating that growth culture. And we've also got in the future an introduction to our learning management system. So for those of you who would like to undertake some IEP learning, please do join us. So once again, thank you very much. It's been great to see you all, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next event. Thank you, everybody.